Everybody, Brian Trow coming to you from Mossy Creek Fly Fishing with your fly fishing forecast. The date for the day is Monday, the 8th of April, and we have got some excellent trout fishing conditions to report on for you out there. Calendars, the right time of year. Bugs are really starting to hatch and pop. We've had a couple of colder days. It was 26 yesterday morning at my house on Mossy, but it looks like it's going to start warming up, getting warmer this week. Clouding up, got some showers and some rain to deal with. Looks like it could be pretty rainy by like Thursday, so we'll kind of keep an eye on that. It looks like it could be quite a bit, but next few days before that, and then hopefully if we don't get too much just after that, it'll be really good as well. A lot of bugs are coming off, depending on where you are, depending on how far east or far west you're fishing in the state, depending on your elevation, your time of day. We've got a lot of bugs to report on, so we started really seeing our first big hatches of March browns this week. A lot of people think March browns come off in March, but at least in this neck of the woods, it's very much an April hatch. The March brown is really important because even though we've had some good quill hatches and little blue duns and blue-wing olives and some caddis, the March brown is the first really substantial mayfly, meaning it's big, okay? So we're talking about size 12s and 14s, really nice size bug, gets the fish really excited. So water temps are on the increase, which means the metabolism of the fish is on the increase. At the same exact time that happens, some of the bigger food of the year begins to show up. So that can mean really great eats. It can mean eats earlier in the morning. So that window that we talk about gets bigger and bigger. The top water feed is extending further into the morning. So still fishing some nymphs here and there, especially on colder mornings, especially in deeper pools, especially when the water's higher or the barometer's not right. We're still fishing nymphs, not super picky on those. Okay, a couple of tractor nymphs, some pink tag nymphs, some egg patterns, right? We talked about that. Now there's a lot of egg in the water this time of year, so not a bad idea to have those with you. But for the most part, particularly for brook trout, copper johns, pheasant tails, prince nymphs, they're not very picky. So get up in the mountains, really enjoy those brook trout, especially after last year when we had such drought and a lot of you all didn't get out nearly as much. I know I didn't, as you wanted to. So that's going to stay good or just get better, actually, as the water temps come up just a little bit more. And we continue to get more and more bugs on the surface. So get out there in the mountains into the national park or the national forest, get there and enjoy it. All right. Moving downhill a little bit into our larger freestone streams, our delayed harvests are fishing really well. April and May are the two best months for delayed harvest. Some of them are still getting stocked. I just saw that Back Creek delayed harvest just got stocked again. So those should be at peak over the next few weeks. Same thing, a good mixture of dry flies that they're eating. Remember those fish that were thrown in all the way back there in October? They're keyed in on bugs. They can't live that long on nothing. So they're very tuned in to the different nymphs that are coming out. They're seeing these bugs hatching sometimes for the first time, and they're going to key in on those as well. So make sure you've got those March browns, lots of caddis flies with you. Caddis are everywhere, especially down here in lower elevations. They're all over the place. Tan, olive, black, have them all. And then your attractor patterns as well. Some of these stockfish really like brightly colored flies. So your yellow humpies, your limeades, your royal wolves, anything with a hot spot that can trigger a strike will be good, especially when they start eating your strike indicator. That's when you know it's time to put on something fluorescent. All right. Moving downhill even more, moving into our spring creeks like Mossy. The big news on those, on the spring creeks, Mossy Creek, Beaver Creek, some of the larger spring fed streams like South River, Buffalo Creek, we are going to start having our big annual emergence of sulphurs. All right. So that is going to be the very first major mayfly hatch on our limestone spring creeks for the year. Typically in a normal year, starts to happen around mid-April. So we're quite close. First few hatches might be kind of onesies, twosies. Okay. It takes a little while sometimes for the trout to key in on them. The sulphur is an amazingly awesome bug. There's a lot of sub-varieties and sub-variants. The first ones that come off can be small, the little Dorotheas, so they can be a little bit tinier, like size 16, okay? And then they'll get bigger. I mean, you can get nice big size 14 sulphurs. So for those of you who are tying sulphur or fly tyers, the sulphurs are really important. Spring creek fish get a lot more selective and a lot pickier because they live in such a great place where they can eat whatever they want. And so when the sulphurs first show up, they'll eat like anything yellow that hits the water, all right? Especially if it's in those last hour or so of light when the big spinner falls happen. However, as the weeks go on, they'll become far more selective. They'll start eating just the emerger, or they'll only eat sulphurs that have like the little orange bands underneath them, or they'll only eat cripples. So it is a fly that we carry a lot of varieties of here in the shop to imitate the different parts of the life cycle. And for those of you at home that like to tie in rusty spinners and things like that, really important for this particular hatch, okay? So fish will start off dumb and happy, and then they'll start to get a PhD in sulfurs. Happens every year, all right? You gotta kind of stay up on that and stay one step ahead of these spring creek fish by understanding the life cycle and the changes in the fly, all right? Besides that, if we have a lot of rain this week, particularly heavy, hard rain, look for the creeks to get off color, which you go straight back to sculpins and swinging articulated streamers. The vegetations in the creek haven't really grown up real big and lush yet. That happens a little bit further on into May. And so your ability to throw big flies and kind of work them from one bank all the way across to the other is still there for this time of year. The channels haven't gotten sucked in and tight and narrow yet. Some places they are. So I say that and then you go out there and you're like, what's that guy talking about? But for the most part, you can run a streamer from one side of that bank all the way to the other side. So it's still a good time for streamer fishing, particularly if we get higher water and if we get off color, all right? Moving down further in the watershed to our main rivers, the James River, the Shenandoah River, South Fork, North Fork, Main Stem. Smallmouth bass fishing has been pretty good. We still need temps to budge a bit more. If you're a wade fisherman, you're gonna be really limited. Floating is really the key, and not just floating, but knowing the confines of where to fish, okay? If you fish these rivers a lot in the summer, it's very tempting to throw at every good-looking rock and every good-looking root wad. They're just not there, okay? They have a very specific rhythm that they go through for the year. They're in their winter holes and their winter lies, and they're in like one corner of that hole. Then they start to get out further and further. The oldest and mature males and females are the first to start forage. They've got more pressure on their bodies. They also have a larger body, so they have to get out and eat a little bit more. So if you know where those winter haunts are, and you kind of know where they patrol, you're going to do better. And then if you know where the potential spawning grounds are going to be over the next month and a half, as they start to migrate closer and closer to those, then you can really drill down and target them. So what I'm getting at is if you do an 8-mile float, you might only be fishing 4 or 5 spots along the way, okay? You have to be disciplined to not sit there and fish every riffle and every run because they're simply not there, all right? And that goes for the other warm water species, the largemouth bass. They're even slower to come out, okay? They like even warmer water. The sunfish, the red eyes, all those guys, they're all going to be on a schedule slightly behind the smallmouth bass. So we'll keep you up to date as we go through this kind of pre-spawn mode to let you know what to look for. Muskies, we're still staying off the muskies. We won't report really on those until May, which is when they finish up their spawn, and that's muskie madness. May and June, at least this part of the woods, best muskie fishing of the year, usually, as long as we have good water flows. But they're hungry from coming off the spawn. They're hungry because the water temps are at their peak metabolism, whereas in the summer, they're going to become more lethargic and slow down. So we have a whole lot going on as far as the fishing goes. Keep an eye on this weather on Thursday. That could mess up or change your fishing plans. If we do get a lot of rain Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and you're planning on fishing this coming weekend, just give us a call. We'll get you up to speed. Make sure you're on some good water with up-to-the-minute information. A couple weeks away from our 21st anniversary and our spring open house. That's Saturday, April 20th. Please mark it on your calendars. Make it an excuse to get up here to the valley if you're from out of town. amazing barbecue. We cook all kinds of great foods. We have all kinds of great beers. It's all free. We have sales. We have giveaways. We have sales reps. We have destination travel information. And we've got presentations that are all going to happen on that Saturday. So come into town, stop by Mossy Creek, get some food, chat a little bit, and then head out to your favorite brook trout stream for a couple hours. So makes for an awesome weekend. We hope to see you all there, and I will see you all next week.